Hi folks, if you're new to my channel, my name is Connie Wood, and I've made a couple of videos on here already about my near-death experience and psychic dreams and other interesting things. For those of you who have watched my videos already, I apologize for not getting back and not making more videos. I do still have the contact information for at least 3 of the people that I was going to interview for their near-death experiences, and I plan to do that. COVID and all kinds of other things have happened that have gotten in the way, but here in the next couple of months I plan to try to get a hold of them. They're here in my town. So a couple of things tonight. I'm going to talk about something sort of different tonight in a way. As far as the Mandela effects, I'm not going to be reporting on those unless it's something I personally experience. I did talk about those in one of my videos. There are so many great channels out here that I watch that have live. I mean, I don't have enough subscribers to go live. So, but they do, and they do a lot of research, and they come on a couple of times a week. There's Scarab Performance. That's Dan Garcia's channel. There's Curious and Curiouser. There's Sandy Diva. There's Hebrew from Eternia. There's Brian Stavely. There's a bunch. If you go into any of those channels, Lone Eagle does some. If you go into any of those channels, you'll meet some great people in there in their chats, and all of those different people sometimes will put videos out with their Mandela effects or their research. So I highly recommend all of those channels. And so if that's what you're into researching, check them out. They're really great. Tonight, I'm going to talk about 3 different things. The first thing is I'm going to talk about something because I really want people that are going out partying these days to beware. You never know what's going to happen. And I'm going to tell you about what happened to me. I was pursued by a serial killer here in my hometown of Wichita Falls, Texas. I'm going to talk about that one first. After I talk about that, I'm going to talk about my haunted house that's on my property that was written up in an article a couple of months ago in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I do have that link. Maybe I'll put it in here, or you can just go to my Facebook. I'm also going to talk about, I had a vision. I had a vision last week. Now, could it be my imagination? I don't know. I still have quite a few prophetic dreams, but this vision was something I'd never experienced. So maybe you'll be interested in that. And that'll be it for tonight. So let's get started with the serial killer. I was born and raised in Wichita Falls, Texas. Now, Wichita Falls is 15 miles from the border of Oklahoma. Back in 1985, my husband and I separated, my kid's father. And I moved back home to Wichita Falls from Slidell, Louisiana, where my daughter was born. Because that's where most of my family lived. And friends, since I grew up here. And, pardon me. And I started, my kids were 3 and 6. My son was 6, and my daughter was 3. And this was back, but we lived in 1985. We came back here. And I met it with some old friends and girlfriends, and we would go out to this club here in town called Stardust. Now, it had a discotheque floor, a great big lighted dance floor with the squares and all, and a DJ and everything, but it was a country and western bar. And occasionally they'd have a band come through. And Sleep at the Wheel came through there at one point in time. And there was a lady that worked at the front desk. Her name was Olive, and she's about my age now. Of course, back then I was like 29. So, and there were a couple of bouncers and several bars inside, and the bartenders, and everybody got to know everybody, and it was like a little community group of people that kind of hung out there, on a Friday or a Saturday night. Well, there was this guy, very tall, slender man. Everybody called Gonzo. Well, his real name was Farron Wardrop. And you can look him up online. I think it's Fayron, something like that. But anyway, we knew him as Gonzo. And he wore blue jeans and a white sport jacket. And he was one of the bouncers there. And he'd come in, he was real friendly. He'd come in and dance with some of the girls. He'd dance with me quite often. And he kept asking me out. And I said, no, I'm not interested. I got to go home. My sister has my kids. I'm going to pick them up in the morning. No. So, but one night, my purse ended up missing, and they found it in the men's bathroom. But the only thing missing out of it was my driver's license, which had my address on it. No money was taken or anything like that. So I thought, that's odd. And I went home that night, and when I got to the driveway, I noticed my front door was wide open. So I got in my car, went over to my sister's. Her husband pulled out his .44 Magnum, and we were going to go over there. He was going to go with us, and we were going to check it out. Sorry about that. And we got over there. Nothing was taken except for a necklace that was given to me by a gentleman on my birthday a couple of weeks before at a party that was at the Stardust. It was a gold necklace. Well, that spooked the crap out of me, and so the kids and I moved. My uncle who lived here in town, had a rent house that became available, and it was just a 2-bedroom, but I just got bunk beds. The kids were little, and we moved over there, which was clear across town. So, one night, he was really being persistent. Please go with me after the club closes, and we'll go to the Hilltop. Now, the Hilltop is not there anymore, but it was a kind of a dive bar that stayed open all night on the other side of the border of Oklahoma. It was like 16 miles. You have to go to Burnett and then go across the Red River, and it's on the other side of the Red River. I'd been there once or twice. It was not anything that I considered anything. But there was this voice, like my intuition, or I think it was my guardian angel. Danger, danger, don't go, don't go, don't go, danger. And I wasn't interested in him in a romantic way anyway, but he kept trying to be so persistent that night, and I finally said, no, I really can't go. Well, put that on hold for a second. I went home. I didn't go. There were 3 nurses in Wichita Falls about my age that were murdered around that time during several months spree. And they arrested a guy who ended up not being the killer. They had evidence that it wasn't him, and they let him out of jail, and then he died in a car wreck. Sad. But not too long after that, there was a young teenage girl over at the Park Place Apartments that was killed, and they didn't know who killed her. And then right after that, Gonzo left, and he went to Dallas-Fort Worth area. Hooked up with a lady. They lived together for a while or something. I don't know the whole story about all of that, but she ended up dead. And then somehow he went down to Houston, and the police found him and brought him back. And he was arrested, but he got out on bond. Well, just so happened that weekend, my sister-in-law and I went to the club to go dance, There's not a whole lot to do here, really. I mean, there's some concerts and things like that, but it's only 100,000 people, so it's not a great big town. And got in through the door walks Gonzo. Well, now this has all been in the paper about this woman he lived with that was dead. And they just sit, him and his friend sit right down at my table. And we're talking and everything, and I was trying to be real nice and everything, you know. And I nudged my sister. I said, let's go to the ladies' room. Go with me. And she said, okay. So we went, and I said, you know who that is? I said, that's Farron Wardrop. She said, the one that's up for murder? I said, yes. We call him Gonzo, but that's him. And I said, he has a thing for me. And I said, we really need to get out of here. And so I said, let's say we're going so-and-so. So we went back to the table, we made our excuses, and we left. Well, not too long after that, I didn't really follow the trial or anything. Not only did they have evidence that he killed that woman, they matched him up with those 3 nurses, and he confessed, and that girl. That's 5 women that he killed. 5. Holy shit, did I dodge a bullet. I tell you what, my next door neighbor, the house, the property that I own now, it was where I moved about a year later after that. My neighbor came over to me and she said, you need to read this book. It's a serial killer from Wichita Falls. It gives all the details and all. I said, no, ma'am, no. I said, that'll give me nightmares. She said, yeah, it made me scared too. I said, no, you don't understand. He worked real hard to try to get me to go with him. You know what I mean? I said, I just thank God that I had a guardian angel looking out for me because, anyway, my crazy daughter, she's a dialysis nurse, and she's into all these unsolved mysteries and true crime stories and stuff like that. She likes to watch them get caught. We were talking about this the other day because she was too little to remember back then, and she goes, oh, do you think he remembers you? I said, are you kidding? He was like obsessed with me for a while. I said, why? And she said, well, I want to interview you. I said, no, ma'am. I said, don't you go anywhere near that man. She says, no, really? And I said, no. She said, okay, I won't. Well, she called. Luckily, he's on death row. I don't know if they've killed him yet or not, but at this point in time, it was several months ago. He wasn't accepting any visitors' mail or phone calls. Thank you, Jesus. I mean, no. I mean, I don't know what she's thinking, but I'm so glad that she was not able to do that. So here's my advice to you. This is unsolicited advice. I'm not a professional, so this is just me talking. Be careful who you let close to you, because they can seem like the nicest people on the face of the earth and be really off up here. Be careful, girls and boys, because there's some crazy women too out there. Nut jobs. What can I say? So, yes, I've had some, everybody has an interesting life really, but I've just had some wild stuff. Now, to my house. I bought this house, and it has a little apartment in the back, which is where I'm living now. After my divorce last year, I moved back here because the front house got damaged. A tree fell on it from my next door neighbor, put a hole in the front roof, and then the plumbing, the people said that this house was built in 1919, a pier and beam house. It's got nice 100-year-old wood floors and everything in it, but it needs some work on it, and they told me I had to update all the plumbing under the house, so that's about $5,000, and I don't have it right now. I wouldn't step in that big old house by myself anyway. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, living room, dining room, kitchen, laundry room. I don't need all that for just me. you know. And this apartment I'm in it's a living room, a kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom, and a laundry area off from the bathroom. Well, it's gonna be, anyway. Um, I'll probably end up selling it all after I remodel it. I get some money coming in, some extra money coming in. But anyway, this house, we moved into it in 1987. I owner financed it. It's been paid for since 2000. I raised my kids in it, and we did a lot of praying in that house. I raised my kids in it, and then my kids lived in it for like, I don't know, 10 years. And then they moved away, and they still live here in town, but they have their own places. And I was married and living somewhere else. So it sat vacant for 7 years. I'm the first person that's moved back on this property in 7 years. It's just been a massive storage up there. I've been going through and getting rid of stuff, believe me. Give away, give away, give away. And what I can't give away and don't need, I'm going to probably have a yard sale or something, because I'm tired of having so much junk. But anyway, we were there, and I guess my kids were like 6 and 9. And they had one of these old cassette tape recorders, kind of a rectangular gizmo with buttons on the front. And they were just singing and goofing off on the tape recorder and then playing it back and listening to it. Well, I was in the front room, the living room, and they come screaming, "What? Mom! Mom!" I'm like, what in the world? I mean, bloody murder. They were screaming. So they said, listen, listen, listen. So I listened to it. And right over the top of it, you could still hear their voices. Right over the top was this growly man's voice saying, "Get out of this house." I mean, he said it mean. "Get out of this house." And just as plain as day. And boy, I said, "Come on, kids, let's go next door to my next door neighbor was older, and we all called her Granny. So let's go to Granny's house." So we went over there, and she listened, and she said, "Oh my God, how are you going to stay in that house?" I said, "I'm going to do a lot of praying. That's all I can do. Where else am I going to go? So we did a lot of praying in that house, but let me tell you, we never heard anything like that again. But over the years, I'd say in a couple of years after that, I started getting into a lot of esoteric stuff. Oh, reading tarot cards, playing with Ouija boards. I wanted to connect with some of my lost relatives and friends that had died. Oh my God, I think I opened a portal in that house. I really do. Because doors would open and close by themselves. You could set something on the table, walk in the next room, walk back, and you wouldn't find it. It wouldn't be there. The next morning, you get up and it'd be sitting on the table. We had orbs all over the house. My daughter saw a woman, a transparent woman, who talked to her and said, "My name's Helen. Are you all right?" My daughter was sick at that time. And she woke up and saw her standing there. And then my son saw a man sitting on the couch who was transparent, and he disappeared. Well, one time, after my ex and I got married, we were staying there, and we had gone to bed. The front bedroom is a great big bedroom, and it's got some windows on one side that are way up high. And you could see the moonlight coming in, so it wasn't pitch black in there. And all of a sudden, we were both just sitting there talking and looking up, and all of a sudden, we saw this black smoky cloud come across the ceiling. And we looked at each other and said, "Did you see that?" "Yeah, what the heck?" He got up and turned the light on, and there was nothing there. One more thing happened that I'm going to tell you. There's a bunch of stuff that happened, but these are some significant ones. my cousin from Grand Prairie would come. She's about 5 years older than me, and she would come here to visit me occasionally. And so we just bunked together, and because back in my day, the women slept together and didn't think anything of it, or not that I knew of anyway. Um, and we had just laid down because we had set up drinking coffee and sitting around the kitchen table drinking coffee and talking. And all of a sudden, the whole bed raised up and shook real hard, and we both jumped up and said, "Oh my God!" She said, "What the hell was that?" I said, I looked around. I said, "Maybe it's the dog." She goes, "No, that damn dog's not in here." I said, "Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a trimmer, but no, something had grabbed the bed and shook the crap out of it. Like the whole bottom end raised up a little bit and shook." So I laid there looking for a minute, praying, and I saw this wispy, see-through, smoky-looking thing that had like little specks of glitter in it. I mean, not glitter, but like a little light reflection, like glitter, just kind of swirling around in it. And then it left. Well, after I remodel that house, the pastor of my church says he's going to come out and pray over that house. Now, one time, and I called in, I usually do, I watch Late Night in the Midlands. I love it. They talk about all kinds of neat stuff. And one time, I had called in. I called in several times to talk to some psychics. And this one psychic on there told me, I asked him about this house, and he said that the land that these houses are built on was at one time a property that was used for trading slaves. Now, granted, this neighborhood was only built back in 1919, and he said it was like in the early 1800s, before they freed all the slaves. And of course, back then, Wichita Falls I don't even think it was a town then. I think it's, no, I mean, there were people living around here, but I don't think it was considered a town back in the early 1800s. Anyway, so I don't know. I know that these houses, okay, the neighborhood I live in is by Old Wichita Falls High School. There's several high schools here, but this is the oldest one, and the one I went to, and my kids went there too. And all of these houses are like the Tudor pier and beam houses, and it's kind of a neighborhood where you'll have a couple of real nice houses and a couple of real old. I mean, they're all old, but some of them are real nicely taken care of, and some of them aren't. Mine's one of them that needs a lot of work. Let me tell you, I need to date me a carpenter is what I need. I'm kidding. But anyway, so my niece that is going to college in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, she's a journalistic major, and she did an article on this house up front. So she sent it to me. I haven't read it yet, and I will put a link to that. And listen, my TikTok, for those of you that didn't get to see the pictures of the last play I was in, I'm a local actress. I've done one television show, but I'm a local actress and sing and dance and all that stuff. And the last show that I did, we did 6 sold-out shows of Titanic the musical. I played 2 different characters in that, and I was in about, 5 or 6 scenes. But we're not allowed to show it on media. But they are going to let us buy copies of it, and if you want to see some photos and some backstage mini videos that I made, go to my TikTok. It's under Connie Wood, and then the letter 0. The number 0 is my TikTok channel, and you can go find it on there, or go to my Facebook, which is just Connie Joe Wood, hence CJ Wood. I did that CJ Wood because it's easier to type in, when you're typing in chat and everything. You don't want a real long name because people are typing and typing and typing. Okay, now to my vision. I talk to God all the time. I do. I talk to him like I would talk to my dad, with respect and humbleness. I miss my dad. My parents died when I was young. And sometimes I'll do it when I'm driving. I keep my eye on the road, but I talk to God. And the other day, I was on my way to the gym, and I said, God, I don't remember my exact words, but I always thank him. And I said, God, please use me as a tool to help others. Use me to do your work. Just give me a knowing, a dream, whatever. Just guide me, because, I may not always know who really you want me to help, or you know what I mean, what I can do something for. And when I was praying, I'm sorry, I'm always smearing something. When I was praying, I was at a stoplight. And when the light turned green, I took off, and I could still see the roads. I wasn't in any danger of anything. But in my mind's eye, there was this little tiny, really fast little video that played right across. And what I saw, y'all. Now, I have had dreams about this already, psychic dreams. Just go back and watch my videos. What I saw was explosions all over the world. Little mini, well, I don't know about many, but like I saw several on each coast of the United States, and down in the Gulf of Mexico and Texas. I saw them in Europe, China, Russia, India, everywhere. I don't know if there were meteors. I don't know if we're fixing to go to war. I don't know what the heck. But I'm just telling you what I saw, just explosions, flashes of lights. And then I saw this huge tsunami. I don't know what. I didn't see which ocean it was. I just saw this huge wall of water coming like hundreds of feet high, like 200 or 300 feet high. And then it flashed over, and I was looking like I could see into my front yard. And the water was all the way up in the street and up almost to my house. And I sat a little ways back from the road, not real far, but it was like a little river out, like canals. Now, mind you, I live 900 feet above sea level. It's not that Wichita Falls on a mountain or anything, but they have a lot of valleys. We're kind of up on the plateau of the town up here. You can tell because when you're going off in any direction, you go downhill. So, go downhill to go downtown, to go to Seymour Highway, to go out this way, that way, whatever. I don't know how to stress this. I'm not what you would call a prepper. I've seen some really radical preppers, and I don't blame them. I mean, after the stores went empty at COVID, and we went to go shopping and there was nothing in there, it wouldn't hurt to have, for storms in the winter or storms in the summer or whatever, it wouldn't hurt to have a little extra food on hand. Well, let me tell you, I started, after last year, I really started buy a little extra this, a little extra that every time I went to the store. Maybe an extra 2 of that, and then the next time an extra 2 of that. And I've got enough supplies. I don't have guns. I don't have, all kinds of stuff. I just have enough supplies that I could live a year if I had to, without electricity and money. As far as going to the store or whatever. Something, I'm telling you, I do have a little psychic energy. Something big is around the corner. I don't know if it's natural. I don't know if it's man-made. but we're headed for some kind of disaster on this planet. At first, when I first started having these feelings, I panicked a little. Was like, oh my God, oh my God. But then when you get to be my age, I'm old. When you get to be my age, you have to look death at, your morbidity. You have to look at the fact that humans die. They get to be old and they die. Now, those of you that don't believe, I believe in God. I had a near-death experience, I believe. But those of you that don't believe, wouldn't it be better to be safe than sorry? Seriously. Okay, let's just say that when you just die, you die, and there's nothing more, and you're just dead. Well, you won't know the difference anyway, right? But if you believe in God, but if you don't believe in God and you die and you go up and it affects your afterlife, oh my, I don't know what they're going to do, what's going to happen. Who knows? I just know what I went through, my near-death experience, and that love that I brought back, that I felt in heaven, I felt it for 3 hours after I woke up back in my body. It was beautiful. Do I have the answer to everything? No, I don't. Let me tell you something. The older you get, the more you realize you don't know. Seriously. And getting old ain't for sissies. Anyway. Look, worry isn't gonna do anything. There's a difference in worry and being mindful. Try to treat each other with kindness and respect. Do your best to say hello to people that walk by you. Hi, how you doing? That might be the only hello they get all day. There's some lonely people out there in the world. I'm fortunate that I've got a ton of friends. Oh, I meant to tell you this too. I don't know if I've said this or not. Forget what I say. I'm old. In this last week, after I asked God to use me as a tool, my phone's rang off the wall with people needing my help. I've had to help a lady move. That's a friend of mine it's one of my girlfriends. I'm running a little pack of friends, Her and her boyfriend split up, and luckily she still had her apartment, and she said, come help me move. I'm like, okay. So off I went. And that's why I didn't get the video out Saturday like I was supposed to. And then I've had to give some others some advice that call me for advice, and I've called some others for, just different people have called me and said, Connie, can you help me? And I'm like, sure. I don't have any money, but I can help you with something else. I don't mind helping people because I've had to have help. I probably will in the future. I mean, that's what it's all about, really. Kindness. Really. Those of you that know Photo Helix, I was messaged today that he's not doing well. We need to keep him and his family in your prayers. John's a very special person. He's helped me a lot with just being who he is. If you're new to my channel, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you get something from it. I'm not a professional anything, like I said. And I hope that I can get these people lined up to give you. I'll be excited too, because I haven't heard their stories yet either. They just told me they had near-death experiences. So I'm going to interview them, and hey, I get to hear it too. So, oh, and keep me in your prayers too. I'm doing okay, but I'm facing 3 small surgeries here in the near future, and I've I've got some nerve damage, and there's some days when I can't walk. And then those days I just say, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna sit all day. And then some days I do great, and I go to work out. I try to keep limber, but it's okay. It's taught me to be humble. Everything in life is a learning experience and teaches you something. Anyway, I love you all. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you got something from it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a professional anything really. Just an old Texas gal that has lived a lot. If you like my videos, want to leave a comment, please do. If you've got a near-death experience you want to air on here and want somebody to interview you, I'd be happy to do it. Well, I can't go live. We just have to video chat because I don't have enough viewers. Anyway, one more thing. I'm going to be putting I will label it gospel music. I'm going to be putting some gospel music on here because there's some of my friends that don't have Facebook and TikTok, and they want to hear some of the songs that I sing, and they said, put it on Facebook. I mean, put it on I can't talk tonight. Put it on YouTube, and I'm like, okay. So, if you see it and it says gospel music and you're not into that, we'll just skip over that. Have a blessed night and come back to see me.